One of the spiritual disciplines that we must keep to is to be happy the way God has created us in as far as gender is concerned. That's why homosexuality is sin, and there are now verses that tell us that, because it means that you are born a woman, but you feel like you should be a man, or you are born a man, but you feel you should be a woman, and you feel like you have rights to change what God has created. Maybe we should just think about the many people that we are dealing with today who have gotten that confusion in their lives, and it has created problems not just for them but for industry. Now, if you claim to be a man and you're actually a woman, if you are jailed, what hospital will you be taken? What ward will you be taken? Among the male prisoners or female prisoners? Can we expect that if you go there and you are a woman among men, that there will be no possibility of being raped if you truly are biologically a woman? It's a confusion, but the whole confusion comes from trying to tell God how He should have created you, instead of accepting that there are many things we may not like or not be comfortable with, but God, the way He has created you, expects you to live in the same way and to live with it. And it's not the only issue. There will be many other issues where the natural thing is one, but your feelings are going to be different. You feel like God was not wise, but He says God comparing Himself to the potter. Can the pot that the potter has made really question Him? And the answer is clearly no. You can't question what God has said. And I think that will be very, very important for us to understand. That's why you look at, for example, the woman in Proverbs 31. She is proud to be a woman. You know, about 30 years ago, I was working in Western Kenya, and was surprised when I was told by the deputy administrators of the school where I was preaching on a weekend that they have a problem where some girls are men and they actually go to fight over girls. Remember, all of them are girls, but they are girls. They are girls, and they are girl boys. And she said, "Oh, this night I've not slept. Why? The fight between the girl boys." And now I said, "What are you talking about?" I did not realize it can be such an issue. In fact, he said, those who with those feelings of being boys, they act like boys, and they can fight over girls seriously. And of course, I had a similar story somewhere in Central Province much later. When we talk about gender, we are talking about classification of female or male. Of course, in English, we also talk about the neuter. But there are only two genders, male or female. And it needs to be understood that it's not a sign of junior and senior. The female is not junior to the male. They are just different. So it's very, very important to understand that when you're born female, you are not born a junior. When you are born senior, you are born a male, you are not born senior. You are just different. He created us differently, with the different roles. Simply just like a car is a different thing from a lorry. One is not senior to the other. They are just made for different roles. And I think that's the way God would want us to accept. So we are all, therefore, before God equal in soul and spirit and intellect. I have to agree on the physical issues of physical strength, there is a difference. Maybe because of the kind of responsibilities God expects the man to have. He's normally will be stronger. Of course, that's one of the things they test in the Olympic, that that you don't have the kind of chemicals that indicate you are a man and yet you are running as a woman. Why? Women and men do not compete, because on that issue of physical strength, it's clear that the best man will run faster than the best woman. Obviously, the best woman will be running faster than even some men. So let me repeat. From the scriptures, it is clear that male and female are created differently, but they are equal in soul. Both of them are created by God, and when they die, they go to be with Him. That's why I say in heaven we shall be like angels, no male, no female. The soul is the same. The spirit is the same. And even the intellect is the same. That's why you'll find some women doing better than men in class. It doesn't make them men, because there was no indication that that God created a difference in terms of the intellect. He only created difference in terms of physique. That what a man can do physically, a woman cannot do. And what a woman can do, a man cannot do. And that's why it's total confusion and try. For example, the way he created man to be the one in procreation, he created man to be the one to penetrate a woman and gave him the equipment to do that. Now, you may be the best woman, the cleverest, but you can't do that because you are physically not made for such a job. You are not equipped for such a job. That's why it is utter nonsense when you hear that whatever a man can do, a woman can do even better. It's not possible. In terms of if it is requiring the physical, it can't happen. And it's not difficult, it's impossible. The same thing, a man who wants to get pregnant, she can't. You are not given the physical capacity to become pregnant. It's true, the child may be yours, my brother, but you can't breastfeed your child. If you're a man, God did not give you the capacity to be able to produce the milk for the baby. It's your baby, yes, but you can't do it. That's why every child is expected to have a mother and a father with different roles. And I think that will be something that we need to have at the back of our mind. If you are to accept the biblical examples that God has given us, and I think it will be important that we understand Him right from the beginning in Genesis chapter 1, because he sets it out clearly right from the word go. And he is saying in Genesis 1 verse 27, talking about this. He is saying in verse 27, so God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God, He created them. Male and female, He created them. It's very clear from the word go. He didn't create them the same, He created them different. One He created male, the other one He created female. But both of them are actually His creation. And both of them are created in His own image. Then if you go on in chapter 5, you will see the same message is actually emphasized. And it will be important that one gets that. That even as you think about God's intention, just look at 5 verse 2. It says, let me begin from verse 1. This is the written account of Adam's family line. When God created mankind, He made them in the likeness of God. Same thing we read in Genesis 1. Then verse 2, he created them male and female and blessed them. And he named them mankind when they were created. Of course, the other English says he named them man. And I think that will be important to understand. He created them different. So the idea of imagining that we are not clear is not something that is that is scriptural. God has created them. He created them separately. He knew what he was doing when he created them different and separate. And I think that will be important. In chapter 6, verse 19, the same message is still on. You are to bring into the ark 2 of the living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. That is Noah being told that is for procreation. 2 women cannot procreate, 2 men cannot procreate. So in order for humankind to continue in the ark that was going to bring to save people from the flood, there had to be a male and female. So that needs to be taught to children right from the word go, that a male is different from a female. And that's the scripture. You wouldn't really claim to be a Christian and start having confusion in terms of what God is saying and what he means. So it's important right from the word go for that to be made absolutely clear. Because if it's not, then it will be another religion, not Christianity, and we are going to bring a lot of challenges to earth. In Matthew chapter 19, the same message is actually being dealt with, and it's important that you realize it's not just the Old Testament where the differentiation is actually put, but also in Matthew 19, verse 4, we read, haven't you read, he replied, that at the beginning the Creator made them male and female, and said, for this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the 2 will become one flesh. So they are no longer 2, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. He made them different. So clearly indicating marriage is for male and female. To ever imagine that somebody is saying we want to get married, can't you see it's clear? He made them at the beginning, male and female, and said the 2 of them, the male and the female, are the ones that will unite to create a marriage, to create a home. So both are created different by God for different roles. And I have emphasized, both are needed for procreation. And I think that will be very important. That's why you need both for you to be able to get a child, and both of them need to be blessed with the capacity that is required for procreation. My hope is that both of you will be blessed with the faculties, because you can be sick, just like any part you can be sick. The faculty of procreation can also be sick, and that will be a problem. But you are still a man. The fact that he's sick, that's a different thing altogether. Deuteronomy 7, verse 14, we read, you will be blessed more than any other people. None of your men or women will be childless, nor will any of you livestock be without young. In other words, for procreation to happen, both the man and the woman must not be barren. I don't know, in our African culture, it's normally assumed that the woman is one barren. But you can see the Bible said it's possible for either of them to be sick and therefore barren. But he's saying when you are blessed by God, he will bless a man to be able to procreate. He will bless a woman to be able to procreate. Either of them can become barren. And that's why they need God's blessings for them to work. So it's a very, very important thing. Our culture seems to imply on a woman, but that's not biblical. Biblical, the Bible is, if there is a lack of a child, be aware it can be either the man or the woman that could be causing the trouble. And so it will be very important that that is sorted out. You know, that the information, this information still goes on in Deuteronomy 22, still talking about this issue of gender differences. If you look at Deuteronomy 22, verse 5, we read, "A woman must not wear men's clothing, nor a man wear women's clothing, for the Lord your God detests anyone who does this." In other words, creation has created a man different from a woman. Then now he goes on to say, it's not enough that biologically you are different. You must show clearly to the outside world that you are actually different. You must wear such that somebody cannot mistake a woman for a man or a man for a woman. That's what really we are seeing here. God hates removal of the distinction. He doesn't want the distinction to be removed. So you need to wear right. So look the way, and that of course, the way you wear will be cultural. How a woman's dressing and a man's dressing is cultural. But within your culture, it must be clear that that you are a man. For example, the Scots wear skirts, men wear skirts, but they are not exactly like the skirts of the women. So it will be clear to a Scotsman that this is a man and this is a woman. But you can see the Bible is clear. It wants those gender differences to be so clearly there that we are not going to, at any time, be mistaking one person for the other. It needs to be clear that you have not only been born a woman, you are happy to be one, and you dress exactly like one. And you know, certainly there are responsibilities. So if we've seen creation is one, we've seen dressing has to also indicate. But in Exodus chapter 4, we realize that although there are clear responsibilities, there are some things that you may need to deal with. And that will be an important thing that needs to be dealt with. That there are some distinctions, and the distinctions we are talking about is the one in Exodus 4 is where a man is the one, of course, to circumcise a boy, but in a crisis, Zipporah circumcised his son. Exodus chapter 4, verse 24-26. So, although there are clear responsibilities, you may need to do things that you normally don't need to do. 1 Timothy 2, 8-14, again, the man is given the leadership role. There are things that both can do. In Luke chapter 24, verse 9-12, and John 4:42 shows the women witnessing. They are the ones who saw what happened in the tomb, and they go witnessing. So both a woman and a man are expected to be witnesses of the Lord. It's only that the leader in church may be a man, but witnessing, both men and women are expected to witness. And both men and women must submit to each other. But when it's a family situation, the man is the head of the family. You know, in heaven, like I said earlier, there will be no male or female. Mark 12:25. You know, spiritually, male is no better than female. Galatians 3:28. We are the same. God, neither male and female, has any special preference according to the scriptures. And I think that will be very important. So we are learning that gender is a scriptural requirement and we must maintain the difference. Homosexuality, lesbianism, all of them are not allowed. Marriage between men and women is not allowed. It's not scriptural. Be proud with how God created.